Hello together, this is Marcus from Searchmetrics, and we're about to begin a webinar about the latest Google update called BERT. For those who don't know me, I'm Marcus Pensek. I'm Chief SEO Consultant here at Searchmetrics. For some more details, we're going to a slide later on. This webinar is presented by Jan Pötscher from Semcona.
Hi there.
He's also going to introduce himself later on, but just some organizational stuff. During the webinar, you're always able to ask him some questions. There's a chat where you can simply post them. And when Jan is done with his slides, we're going to jump to the chat and see what questions are there. And we try to answer all of them. If it's not possible, we're going to publish a blog post combining all the questions that we got and answering them there. It's probably going to be published maybe next week, depends on the number of questions. And we're going to include the webinar there as well as a YouTube video. So all of you who cannot stay the whole time, simply wait for the email where we send you the link. Okay, Dan, do you want to start?
Yeah, thank you, Marcus, and thank you for the short introduction. Also a warm welcome from my side, and thank you for being here and to have the chance to tell you some things about BERT. Yeah, let's start. First, little things about Semcona, who we are and what we do. We are the so-called Relevanzmacher, and in German, it's German for makers of relevance. And we have been dealing with relevance, content, and context for nearly 7 years now. And what we do is we use a self-learning and intelligent system that analyzes and clusters data from the web. So we can identify relevant content related to a core topic very quickly and very easy. And this system is based on AI and machine learning as well as semantic algorithms. And what we do is we bring both worlds together. On the one hand is the Google world with a lot of search volume, with a lot of search phrases, and where we can see what is the user looking for. And on the other hand, we have the web world, we have the user-generated content on open platforms like forums, blogs, social communities, and so on. And yeah, we crawl those data, those unstructured data, and our AI-based machine will analyze this and allows us to identify relevant topics, environments, keywords, moods, and so on. And when we bring both worlds together, we have the chance to create most relevant content for our clients and publish them on blog posts, communities, product descriptions, or entire content hubs, and so on. This is what we do. And now I want to switch off my camera to concentrate on the slides. And we'll see in the next slide a short introduction of Marcus. And I think you may introduce yourself again, or?
Yes, yeah, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Marcus Pensek. I'm Chief SEO Consultant here at Searchmetrics. We are a small group of senior SEO consultants called DSG, Digital Strategies Group, and we're providing SEO consultancy services here within Searchmetrics. So if you've ever got a problem that you need a second opinion for, just give us a call or an email. I'm in the, I built my first website in 1996. It was a really crappy one, and it doesn't exist anymore. But professionally, I started working in the web dev field like in 2003 with some PHP e-commerce stuff, and switched to online marketing since then, driving traffic to those websites. I'm doing SEO professionally since 2008. Since then, I'm specialized in strategical SEO, technical SEO, and international SEO, while I'm currently focusing on, or not only focusing, but also going into SEO for China, including Baidu, Sogo, and so on.
All right. who am I? I'm Jan Pötscher. I'm head of account management at Syncona, and since this year, chief marketing officer too. So I'm also certified in using Searchmetrics. This is the tool that we use beside our own intelligence. And yeah, my way to Syncona is a bit different. I was head of social media. I was a social media consultant. I start with social media and social SEO. And what I'm interested in, I write down at my own blog, newmediapassion.com. When I found some stuff about SEO, social media, or digital marketing, I write about it. So enough of the preface. Let's come to the topic of this webinar, BERT. And yeah, to understand BERT, you may have to look at Google's evolution in the whole context. The goal of Google is to show the best possible search result for their search query to the searcher. A lot of search in this sentence, I know. And as you know, it depends on your personal search profile, your location, and your device, what Google is showing to you at the search result pages. But it also depends more and more on relevance, on context, on what Google is understand, what the searcher wants to know about, and to fit the best search result with the content Google knows. And especially those three marked updates in 2013, 16, and 19 are very important regarding understanding of voice and speed. So Google's strategy is more and more to understand what the people really know about, what the context is, and to include more and more variables from outside of this, what the user is typed in the Google search. And now the challenge is for us and for you that a search query does not just consist of keywords, but must always be seen in context. And nuances, adjectives, pronouns, even current moods and events are crucial for understanding a query. So Google has refined its algorithm in this regard in recent years. Yeah, you see it here, and we'll do it later, of course, also in the near future. And it relies more and more on AI to understand language. And this is the challenge that we all have to overcome to stay visible in the organic search. And we all know it, organic search traffic makes about 30 to 50% or more from the whole traffic on a web page. So it's very important to fit Google's needs and the user's needs. And BERT is, in my opinion, only the next logical step on the way to this perfection that Google wants to be. And yeah, if one can achieve that at all, perfection, Google is the best that we see. So yeah, what is BERT in fact? The encryption of BERT, or the translation of BERT, the bidirectional encoder representations from transformers, is just one side. BERT is based on neural networks and on an intensive understanding of the complex human language. And what I think is that the context and the human language is not only based on keywords, but based on nuances and relevance. And so that is what Google is trying. Google is trying to understand not only what you say and write into the Google search, but more and more what you actually mean. And yeah, that is the challenge. And when you see some examples here, you see when maybe I can describe with a small picture. When compared to the communication between people, one only could say that Google tries to read between the lines, and but the understanding of context is based on this understanding of meanings, an understanding of small words like here, like for or on, and so on. And when people talk together, they use, for example, facial expressions, they use gestures to express their words, they modulate their voice in voice color and volume, and so on. So the words may have a different meaning, and Google wants to figure out what the different meaning is. And yeah, this is what BERT is. BERT is just a better understanding of the whole of the complete search query, not only based on keywords, but based on those nuances you see here. Yeah, there are a lot of examples I think you've seen on the web. I just go over there and go to this example here. I think it's not only based on BERT, but the picture proves the fact that events are also affect the context. Normally, when you type in the search query Munich Dortmund, Google indicates that you want to have a search result that contains two travel informations. And you see on the left side the search result of Google Ads. So Google Ads are based just only on keywords. So when you type in Munich Dortmund, you find here search result Eurowings, Deutsche Bahn, etc. But the first organic results are not travel informations, but informations about the football match between Bayern München and Borussia Dortmund. And this is what I'm talking about.
Sorry, for the English speakers, they probably understand Munich, but Dortmund also is another city in Germany.
Yeah, there are the two big German football clubs in Germany, and very, very popular. And when they play against, it's a very huge impact on the search results or on the search traffic. And yeah, this is what I'm talking about. On the right side, you see the intelligence of Google to interpret the search query and includes all of the events and the variables around the search query, not only based on keywords. And yeah, I think this example doesn't have any effect on BERT, but shows that Google is understanding better and better how to classify users and their intentions. And this is the challenge for us, for my branch, that we produce content for our user, and we have to think about it, and we have to respect Google's intention here. Yeah, we see here also, for example, this case. This is the search result of Deutsche Bahn. Normally, you see the travel information, but when the both football clubs play against each other, the search results from some football magazines and so on will rank very high, and the traffic information's going down to page 3 or 4. Yeah, what are the implications of BERT for SEO? First, yeah, no panic at all. Every Google update is an update in a long row of updates, in a long row of the strategy of Google. First, we see some effects in the English-speaking searches. So BERT will roll out actually for the English search queries. Google says itself that it will cover approximately 10% of all search queries, but about 50% of all queries Google never know right now. So every day we see a lot of new search queries that never be searched before. So it's really a learning process also of Google. And maybe in Germany we see in the beginning of next year first effects. But what we see right now is that some featured snippets, the position 0, will be affected, and we see some changes there, but not really high enough to say, okay, to know what we do right now. Yeah, what's really important to understand is that this update BERT will primarily affect the search results for long-tail queries. And long-tail queries are very interesting for us, not because of the traffic, because long-tail means mostly you've got less traffic than with short-term queries. But the quality of long-tail traffic is, in my opinion, a lot higher than of short-term traffic. And what we see in our projects is that the conversion rate of traffic coming via a long-tail keyword to the web page is a bit higher than, for example, Google Ads or short-term keywords. So the long-tail traffic is, in my opinion, a more quality traffic. So we have to look at it very intensively. And yeah, to understand BERT BERT, you have to understand Google. And I think it's clear, it's very hard to understand Google in its entirety, but Carl Kratz built up those graphic with 4 rules to understand Google. And I think it's a good idea and a good help for us to prepare better content when we understand how Google works. First of all, you have to set a clear content-related focus with your page content. So I think it's also clear, is the page optimized for a product or sale, or is it optimized for information about a topic, or is it a cornerstone page or landing page? Before you start writing, you have to set up the focus of the page and of the content of the page. And what I see in my projects, it's hard not to lose the focus during the writing, but stay on the focus when you write the content, and not to go away from that. So an exact briefing and an exact specification for the editor helps them a lot. Secondly, you should never make the mistake of over-optimizing the page with keywords and putting as many of them in the text as possible, because the content must always be user-optimized, not search-optimized, user-optimized. And sure, you can use tools like WDF, IDF to determine the best keyword density, but in my opinion, it doesn't depend on the keyword density at all, because Google understands not only keywords, Google understands the meaning of words. Google understands synonyms. Google understands when you explain a topic and so on. So it depends on the right and the clear user understanding, not on the keywords. So that's the second one. The third one, I think it's also clear for all. Stick your principles. This also applies to Google. So you should only write about things that you know about. I think it's clear when you are a food company, you're not able to write about cars, for example. Or when you're a sports company, you're not able to write about maybe traveling. This is what Google approve with their team of people that controls the pages. You know, Google have the so-called Google SEO guidelines, that is really important, that the focus and the topical focus is really clear and really transparent to Google. And the last point is the most important for us. Therefore, I marked them a little bit. That is the holism. And here it is increasingly important to look at different perspectives in order to give as comprehensive a picture as possible on a topic to the visitor. This explicitly includes the possible search intentions and the user questions. So only when you know about what the user is reading and what the user is writing about, you can prepare your content very holistic and present them as much information as possible. And I know it's maybe a little bit abstract, so I would like to be more practical now. And let's assume you want to build a content hub, for example, for a topic or and produce content for it. So you know for yourself what you want to write about. You have a product, you have a solution, you have a topic, and so on. But the question is now, what exactly does the user really want to know? What are the user questions? What are the user's needs? And only when you make a deep analysis before, deep research, you are able to produce holistic user-centered content. So you have on the one side, the company's point of view, that's your view. You know your facts, you know your content that you would like to publish, you know your keywords that you want to use, and you know your messages. But the most important thing is, what are the user's point of view? So, but what exactly does the user want to know? What does the user search at the moment? The search trends are really variable from time to time. They're very dynamic. What drives the users around? What is important to him? And so it's really, really important to bring both perspectives together to produce the right and relevant content in the real context. Sure. Maybe you ask yourself now, how can I do this? What are the tools to identify users' questions? So we have a lot of opportunities on the web. Google itself presents you a lot of possibilities. Here, for example, the Google Trends. You have the Google Auto Suggest function. You have the Google question box on the Google search result, where you can see what Google is, what users are asking also. Then you have some tools like People Also Asked or the so-called W-Fragen tool. So you have a lot of free tools to identify the user's intent and to see and to research what the user is talking about. We use, for example, also Searchmetrics. We're a Searchmetrics partner, sure, and Searchmetrics tools helps us a lot. For example, to identify the search intent and check whether topic and topic editing matches the searcher's expectations. And if you see a keyword is clearly informational, then it's clear, then I do not need to create a sales page. And when I see a keyword is transactional, I'm able to create a product page, a sales page to start the sales funnel. And that is very important that you make this research before you start writing. You also can use some other tools. Very helpful for us is the Topic Explorer of Searchmetrics, where you can find out also different search phrases from a core topic and so on. You have a tool like the keywordtool.org and so on. So you can use different web tools, and you can also use professional tools. So when you are a professional content producer for yourself, you have to use a professional tool, sure. So my recommendation is the better the page content correlates with the search intention and the clearer the signal to Google are, the better content can evaluate, the better Google can evaluate the content. So, and that's our goal. We have to give Google clear signals to evaluate the content and to bring our content to the front of the SERP, of the search result pages. Then, because it's always the relevance that decides. You have to, on the one hand, you have search queries, on the other hand, you have search results, and Google decides on a lot of variables how relevant is the website in relation to the search term, how good is the performance, how good is the mobility, and yeah, and then it's the decision of Google. If your page is displayed on page 1 of Google, and that's the only relevant page, or even not. And yeah, and to come to that goal, it's more and more important that we know it's not just what we want that matters, but what the reader wants. That is the fact that we have to look at. Yeah, what you see here is the starting of the customer journey is not even searching for a brand or a product. On the contrary, users are increasingly looking for solutions. So they have a problem, they search for an answer. Or they have a question and they search for an answer. And the search for a brand or a specific product is becoming more and more obsolete. And especially as brand searches usually lead to the company's official website anyways. So when a user search for Toyota or for Adidas or for Nestle, mostly they find the company webpage easily. But when they search for a topic, they also have to find the brand page. But here it depends on the topic that we present on our own page and our own content. And that is what I'm trying to tell you, and what I recommend you. Not to start with product-centered content, just to start with non-product content. And yeah, as a marketer, I have to take this around and deal intensively and exclusively with the user at the beginning of the customer journey. Later on, I can present my products, I can present my solutions and so on, but the first touch point is the topic. That is what I'm talking to you. And yeah, therefore, I recommend to focus on topics, and the content has to be tailored to the user very intensively. the brand may hold back very much at the beginning. Later on, you can include a backlink, for example. You can use banner ads. You can use a sponsored post and so on to switch the user from the topic to the brand and to the product. But the first step is be visible with topics and with user-centric content. Yeah. So to make it more clearer, I have set up a small scheme. I would like to clarify the process that we do. First, we have a so-called core topic. That is your point of view. You would like to publish some content and you know which topic you want to publish. And that can be a product or a service or a solution or whatever. So that is important for you as a company. After that, you have to make the research and you have to identify relevant topics which is relevant for the user. What are the user talking about regarding your core topic? What are the pros and the cons to your products? What are the user's wishes to your product, to your solution? And those core topics, those relevant topics are very important for the content production, because based on those relevant topics around the core topic, you have to identify the core keywords, the focus keywords, and based on that, the keyword set that you can use within your content production. And this is, these are the different types of views. Just the core topic is your view. The other things are the user's view that you have to look at when you produce new content. Yeah, and then now I have a simple best practice case because maybe you are interested in how are the effects of BERT, but not only of BERT, but of the strategy of Google to concrete web portals, to concrete web spaces. And Family App is a new app from the United States. It's dedicated to secure and inclusive communication between family members, as well as groups like clubs. And to market the app, we have set up a portal in the middle of 2018 and have been publishing topics relating to family, health, social issues, and very intensively concentrating on user-centric, on user wishes. And yeah, the editor's intentions come from the web. We make every time researches on the web and post every article with a highly user-centric focus. And what we see within the last weeks, that the organic visibility increases really hard since the last update, about 60%. And okay, you can say what are the setup, the configuration. Maybe you have produces more content than before. No, it's really so that we not increases the amount of content that we produce. We publish about 2 to 3 articles per week, and but we do it from the beginning on. And now what we see here is a kind of effect and kind of benefit of the Google strategy to benefit organic content and user-centric content. And I will tell you our 3 steps, what we do for Family App right now. First, we have a very intensively research of relevant topics. Therefore, we're using our own AI technology. And how I said, it allows us to identify topics very easily and quick, and also identify, I call it the needle of the haystack. So things or topics that nobody has never thought of. And our analysts goes there and evaluate these topics and compare them with the topics and goals of our clients. Because I think you know it, not every topic that we identify is can be edited by a brand. Maybe it's relevant for the user, but maybe it's a no-go for the brand. So we have to fit both worlds also. To identify those topics that are relevant for the user and also for the company. After that, we use, I say it, Searchmetrics to identify such things like search volume, search trends, search intention, and it helps us a lot. So I think the quality of the data of Searchmetrics is very high, and we think that both worlds, both technologies helps us a lot to produce the right content. And then we build up, for example, an editorial plan. And this editorial plan is really detailed. It's not only a plan with a core topic, but a plan with all of the relevant information that an editor needs to create the right content. So you see here the relevant keywords, search phrases, user questions, and so on, up to the definition of subtitles and meta description, what is also really interesting for Google and also for the user. So yeah, this is my recommendation to you. Keep yourself intensively occupied with your user, and include their expectations and intentions actively and mainly in the content creation to be visible also in the future, and to be more visible than your competitors. And I think I'm convinced that BERT is only a next step of Google to optimize the search results. There will be a lot of more updates in the future. So thank you at all. And now I think we have a lot of questions.
Yeah, thank you very much. I actually have a first question, because we're talking about the BERT update, and you've shown us an example on how BERT affected one of your clients. Can you be a little more specific on how can we actually see if our increase or decrease was done by BERT? So how is BERT update affects our KPIs? How can we see this?
Yeah, okay. First fact is we do not change the basic setup. So we create content, I said 2 to 3 posts per week. And we are also very excited about the boost of the increasing of the search visibility. In my opinion is what we see, that the family app webpage is ranking especially for long-tail keywords, not for short-term keywords. So the search phrases are very detailed with user come to our page. So I think we benefit from the strategy of Google to identify and to interpret the long-tail keywords or search phrases even more better than before. So we optimize our content for family app from the beginning on of the user. So we look at users' needs, users' motivation, users' wishes, and I think that is nearly the logical development, the logical effect of the Google strategy, that what we see here on our portal. So we see also an increasing of impressions and clicks in the Google Search Console. Not only the ranking visibility, also the impressions and the clicks and the traffic that we see, that we measure with Google Analytics, is rising up.
Okay, so I understand that you have produced a lot of really relevant content for the customer, right? And that now Google is actually understanding that all those long tail questions they get from their users is related to your customer's content.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the short version.
This is the short version. Yeah.
Okay, another question. You said long tail traffic is of higher quality. Why is that?
I'm convinced that the mechanism of Google to interpret the search queries and match with the search results is so intelligent that Google understands even better what the user really wants to. And when you fit your content to those long tail search queries, to that what the people really know about, you've got less traffic, I say it, but you've got more quality traffic because the user motivation and the content fits even better than as for short-term search queries. And we measure it. We see it in all of our projects that the conversion rate of Google ads, of paid traffic, is not as high as the conversion rate of organic traffic, especially via long-tail keywords. So I think the intelligence of Google is the reason for that conversion boosting.
Okay. There's a related question to this. Would you recommend using more long-tail keywords for category pages as well? I think it's about e-commerce category pages.
I think that there are two different sides. On the one hand, you have the technical SEO. You have the SEO title, you have the SEO title, you have the category page name, and so on. Therefore, you have to be user friendly. So you don't have to get more words into the title. So it has to be written very short and very quickly, snackable. But within the content, you have to answer the questions the users have, and therefore you can use long-tail searches. For example, you identify a special question a user have, and you take those questions to your content and give them a short and quick answer. That is especially also the right way, the right process to have a chance on a position 0 ranking.
Okay, cool. There's a follow-up question to this. What is the best way to identify the relevant long-tail keywords?
The marketer in me would say, ask me, ask Semcona to make a whole research. I think the best way is, the easiest way is to look at Google's insights. Google gives you a lot of information about users' questions, about users' needs and users' intents. You can use the Google Search Console, for example. You can use Google Analytics. You can use Google Trends and so on. I think that is the easiest way to identify the long-tail keywords and the long-tail questions. The relevant topics, to identify the relevant topics, that's more difficult because therefore you have to analyze I would say a big data structure. This is what we do. We crawl the German-speaking web, the English-speaking web. We have a lot of millions of data in our database. And that allows us to identify relevant topics. For a single SEO specialist or a single marketer, it's really a bit difficult to identify the relevant topics. But you can also, I say it, the Google tools that helps you also a lot, I think. But the whole complexity of relevance is even more difficult and even more complex. So I think you have to ask an agency or a partner that supports you in this case.
Your long-tail approach is really interesting for many of the viewers. Here's the next question. Would you recommend to focus on long-tail keywords only, or should you use a mix-up between short-tail keywords and long-tail keywords?
I think a mix-up is very good. First, you have to focus on the user's needs. So when you see user are asking or searching only for short-term keywords, it may not have sense. May not make sense to optimize on long-tail keywords. But mostly, we see it, that the voice search is becoming more and more popular. The search phrase is getting more and more longer. So you have to focus on the user and the user's needs. And when the user searching for exactly questions, they type in exactly questions, long questions, you have to focus on exactly those search phrases. But sure, what we see, the relevance is not only the only thing Google is looking at. Google is also looking at keywords. So when you create your content page, you also have to use short-term keywords within the most popular SEO techniques like title, subtitle, and so on. I think it's a mix. That's the best way. The mix is the really good idea.
Yeah, if I can say something about this as well. I think it's really complicated to actually optimize for specific long-tail keywords because, you know, like 50% of all searches that are done on Google are completely new and Google sees them the very first time. This is the actual long tail. And you cannot really prepare your single landing page for as many long-tail keywords as possible by simply including them. What you need to do is really set up your topic and concentrate on your topic. Try to answer all the questions that could come up in your specific user intent that you want to serve. And this automatically will lead you to have a long-tail optimized page because it includes many words that Google in the end again can combine to those long-tail phrases they want to answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Okay. Good. Next question. How do you see voice search queries in relation to BERT? I think you already answered this somehow, right?
I think I answered this. Yes. I think BERT is also built up because of voice searches, because the voice search queries are more different to what I'm typing in, and because this is the reason why BERT is actually rolled out. And the voice searches, the amount of voice searches will be increasing in the near future because of all the tools we have at home, Siri, Alexa, and co.
I think I can answer the next question. It's can you summarize BERT's most significant change in one sentence? It's probably not going to be one sentence, but do it as short as possible. The BERT algorithm update is actually not something that you usually see as an Google algorithm update. So it's nothing that Google puts on how they calculate your rankings. It's not related to your website or how your website is seen. It's more related to how they are able to interpret and to understand the user's search query better. So in the very past, when you type in search, Google would look up every single word that you put in your search query and try to find a document that contains all those words, especially in the right order. And over the time, Google tried to focus more on the meaning. So they started to use synonyms. So if you search for a car, they would answer with a page that includes a specific car brand because they understand the brand also is a car. But with BERT, it gets even more complicated, or with the natural language, it gets more complicated. And Google tries using BERT, understanding more complex situations, more complex phrases. And the better they understand your phrase, your search, the better they can pick the right document that answers this.
Absolutely. Yeah, agree. Yeah, you cannot optimize your content specific on a single update. It's not possible. You only can try to optimize your content to the user, and Google will benefit that. And that's the only that's the only way you can do.
Yeah. Next question: are podcasts better for Google than blog posts, or is it a mix of content that boosts your visibility in Google?
I think podcasts will become more and more popular, and I've heard from another SEO specialist that Google tries to analyze also audio files. So I'm convinced that in the near future, podcasts will also be presented on the Google search, not only text searches, also podcasts and on audio files. Especially when you describe the podcast like you do with YouTube videos, you use a title, you use a description, and when Google are able to analyze the audio file, the audio voice, it will also have an impact on the Google search in the near future, I think.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. I would probably say that podcasts are not that important for a desktop search, but could get more important for voice searches, because they already contain audio answers, and Google might simply cut a little piece of this podcast and publish it as an answer and say you can listen to the whole podcast here or so. That's something that I think could happen in the future, but I wouldn't specifically say it's better or worse. It's probably depending on the user intent.
I think we saw it also at the Daimler blog. When you look at the Daimler blog, you see a written blog post and also a speaking blog post, an audio file, besides the text blog post. So I think that's a good point that you say, Markus, that for the voice search, a speaking text is more interesting than for the desktop search.
Yeah, I wouldn't say is, but could be in the future, because currently I don't see a voice or audio files as an answer yet. Something related to this, how good is Google right now in understanding audio, video, image files, so podcast, YouTube, Instagram, and so on?
I'm not really sure if Google is good enough there. I think it depends mostly on the description of the video and the audio and so on. So you have to use the title and the description place to give Google the right signals. You have to use alt and title text for pictures, for example, that Google knows what the picture is about. But I think also in the near future, the technology of Google will becoming more and more better, and so Google will be able to encrypt what a video is about or a picture is about, also without any additional description.
Yeah, I actually think Google is already at this point that they can do all these things, but they simply don't do them yet for the whole scale. I mean, understanding audio, you can always upload a video to YouTube and have Google analyze the text that you're speaking there and put it in the captions. But if you look at the quality that you can find there, you can still see there are so many mistakes in understanding, and this is probably the point why Google is not using this so much. But in the future, with more and more voice searches, they are able to analyze. With more and more Google Home users, they are able to analyze. They will get better in understanding very single words of so many different dialects and people's voices. So this will happen, sometime. For the image files, they already provide an image recognition API that you can actually use and buy from Google, which understands which entities are found on those pages. So they can understand, oh, there's a sailing boat, there's a sun, that's a window. They already do this kind of stuff. Not sure if they implement it in their search yet, but they at least could technically do this already. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Should I create the content thematically similar as the competition, which ranks already on page 1? What would you say?
I'm not sure if I understand this question correctly.
I understand it this way, that I want to rank for a specific topic, and I look at those competitors that are already ranking on page 1, and look what kind of content are they creating. And the question would be, should I create something very similar to it or not?
The answer is that you have to create content that is better than your competitor. So you have to analyze the content that your competitor creates, and then you have to think about it. How can you publish better content, more user-centric content than your competitor are? So you can use, in the simplest way, you can use such content tools like Searchmetrics, where you can see what is the content score, what is the keyword score, how many words you have to write about, and so on. These are the simplest SEO technologies you have to use, sure. But in my opinion, you have to be more relevant than your competitor. And the analysis of competitors' content is the first step. And then you have to think about how you can be more relevant, how you can be better than the competitors, and how you can send more and clearer signals to Google to raise to the first place in the Google search.
Okay, there's another BERT question. Are there any changes due to BERT on more technical side, like naming of pictures, H1 headers, and so on?
No, not really.
Yeah.
So you have to do the SEO basics as before. You have to use H1, H2 tags for headlines. You have to do structured data. You have to use structured data. You have to use meta description, alt and title tags. So these are this SEO basics you have to use. You have to do for sure. BERT is more the understanding of context, of content, and of long-tail keywords. It doesn't depend on the SEO technique.
Okay. Did BERT affect Germany, or didn't it yet?
It didn't affect Germany yet. I think we will see effects in the German search results in the beginning of next year, but I didn't know exactly. I think the German language is a little bit more difficult than the English ones. So it can be that Google wants to test more with more data from the German language, and the AI have to learn from big data, and I think we will see effects in the German search, in the beginning, the first quarter, second quarter of the next year, but I don't know exactly.
Okay, so you already answered the next question. When will the Google algorithm in Europe be rolled out from your experience? So you say probably beginning of next year?
Yeah.
Okay. Will BERT affect English searches in Germany or other European countries as well?
That is a good question. The only answer from Google is that BERT affects only just in this time English-speaking search queries. So it's not really clear if also for searches from Germany or the European country, or only from the US or England. Maybe you have more information, Markus, but I'm not really sure. If we see also from Germany.
Yeah, the official statement is that they affect English searches. And I think if Google can recognize that this search is really English and they want to serve English results, it might affect.
Yeah.
So it will affect. I mean, it's about understanding the user query, the search query. And if they understand it's an English search query, they will use BERT on it, of course. So it must have, yeah. How's Google understanding the context to the football with search queries like Munich and Dortmund? Do you want to answer, or shall I?
Yeah, I'm trying to answer. I think Google has a lot of information about searches, and when Google says that a lot of users searches for Munich to Dortmund, and they click on a search result that is about the football match, then Google recognize, okay, maybe it's the actual topic that is interesting for the user, and they serve more search results regarding the football match than the travel information. So Google analyzes the user signals within the search and reacts on the user signals.
Yeah, this is actually one way that they recognize there are more people not clicking on travel websites in the results, but more on sports websites. So they change their SERP for this specific time. Being another way they could actually find out about this would be that they correlate what news websites put into their news feeds, and they see, oh, there is an increase of articles naming those two cities within the sports context. So Google understands, oh, currently there's something in change in the user intent, and they would pay more attention and try to serve different SERPs and see what the users actually click on in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, also possible, yeah.
Okay. There was a massive turbulence on our side and some others from what I can tell around the 13th of September. Could that have been an early rollout of BERT? We lost brand search terms and keyword visibility dropped to 30%. There was no manual action taken on our side, but it definitely looks like a penalty. What do you think?
We have a lot of Google updates before BERT. We have in the early September an update called a medic update regarding the trust and authority of content. So maybe it depends on that update that the web page lost a lot of traffic or visibility.
Yeah, you're talking about September core update, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think there's a clear sign in this question that it cannot be BERT. And the sign is we lost brand search terms. So it's not about Longtail. It's not about Google needing to understand the question. It's clearly brand search terms. And this shows me it must be something different.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Okay, I think we're up in the time. It's almost 1 hour now. We've still got a lot of questions here in the pipe, and we'll summarize them in a blog post following up. There was one question asking how to get the slides. You will find a recording of this webinar also in the blog post. So simply look at your inbox. We'll send you an email if you sign up for this webinar. If you want to tell any of your colleagues who didn't sign up, just tell them to watch out for our blog post to come, in around 7, maybe 10 days, depends on how fast we can ask the questions. Thank you very much for joining the webinar. Do you want to say some last words?
Yeah, I want to thank you all for your patience, for your attention, and I hope that my tips and my informations will help you a lot to be more user-centric, to be more quality content focused in the next future. And thank you, Markus, for discussing with me and to having the chance to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much. I thought it was really, really interesting. And for those who were looking for more technical information about BERT, I will simply put 1 or 2 links in the blog post. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.